everybody thinks that if they go to Northeastern University, they by default get co-op. I know that is how they market it, but is this true? Obviously, we have CPT, then we have OPT, and then we have pre-OPT.
99% of people whom I know is people activate their pre-OPT. About 80 to 90% of my team got laid off. So there was no chance that I will be getting a full-time offer.
Because you activated pre-OPT and looks like you used it for 3 months or how many ever days, does that mean now this takes away these days from your actual OPT?
I spent approximately 45 days of my unemployment days looking for a job. If you have a job offer and they want you to start early, I would say go for pre OPT, because even if you start on a pre OPT and by the end of your graduation you find a better offer, you can switch to it. Your pre OPT doesn't ask you for offer letter. That is a big misconception that people have, that if I'm applying for pre OPT I need a offer letter. No.
Before we dive into all the strategies and stories that we're going to discuss in this podcast, let me ask you this. Do you have a clear job hunting strategy to get an internship or a full-time job? Most people don't, and it's costing them opportunities. I've helped over 1100 students with their strategies through my ultimate job hunting course.
And trust me, I'm not even kidding. I could see so many recruiters viewing my profile.
And it's been the best investment I've ever made.
The content is incredibly practical, filled with tips and strategies that make you stand out to recruiters.
It was one of the best courses that I have done till date.
This course covers everything that you need to stand out. You will get ultimate resume course, you will get ultimate LinkedIn course, networking strategy, access to 1100 plus job seekers for support, and personal support from me through WhatsApp group. I will walk you through every single step that you need with real examples and the tools that will give you an edge. I don't want you to miss any other opportunity to land your next job or an internship. So check the link in the description. And now I will let you enjoy the podcast. Amazing. Shrijay, thank you so much for doing this. I am excited to dive into your journey. It is complex, and I think a lot of people have reached out to me to understand this topic, and I know that you have gone through this journey yourself, so hopefully we can help others as well on like how this work. And of course, we are not an immigration lawyer, so disclaimer right there. But this is what Shrijay's journey is. But before we get into any of that, let's do like a quick intro. Who are you? When did you come to United States? And what do you do right now?
So thank you for having me, Yudi. My pleasure. My name is Shrijay. I came in United States in December 2020. I did my master's from Northeastern as in the project management with a concentration in Agile. I graduated in 2022 December. Uh, I did my co-op at Philips for about 9 months. We're gonna dive in that. How was it? And I started at AIG, the insurance group, in April 2023. Yeah, April 2023, as a project manager. Yeah, and so far it's going great.
Nice. Great. And first thing I want to like just start like elephant in the room. Everybody thinks that if they go to Northeastern University, they by default get co-op. I know that is how they market it, but is this true? Like if you go to Northeastern, do you just get co-op?
Okay, if someone is having that perception, and with that perception, if they're joining Northeastern, that's a big no. Uh, I know a lot of my friends who didn't get a co-op. Uh, it is true that the main USP at Northeastern is their co-op program, and they help you get CPT options and everything. But just because you have the admit from Northeastern doesn't by default means that you're gonna get a co-op.
Yes. Yeah. I spoke to like at least 20, 30 students in 2024. Of course, right now the market is extremely bad. And I know that they told me none of them have gotten co-ops. It's like I just wanted to tell people that, because every time they ask me like, hey, NU versus XYZ university, and I'm like, why do you want to go to NU? And they're like, oh, they have co-op, so at least I'll get money, and I'll have 6 months of co-op and I'll recover my tuition fees. I'm like, who said that you'll get the co-op? It's like, and that then they're like, but isn't that like you get co-op? And I'm like, no, that's not true. You still have to work extremely hard to get the co-op.
Agreed.
Yeah. So in your case, you were able to get co-op, and I know we have done extensive video on project management and all of that. So that will be coming soon. But you did something interesting. You got the co-op. This was your summer internship and converted into co-op.
Kinda, yes. We,
Okay.
we will talk about the timeline, but yeah. So to give you an overview, I got it in Feb and I joined in April.
Okay. You got it in February. You joined in April, so it was like pre-summer, and then the co-op lasted 9 months.
So regarding that, I would like to put out a point. Even if you get a co-op, let's say if someone got admit and they are coming to Northeastern, if they get a co-op, they Northeastern has some guidelines that you can only start between these dates and these dates, and for that dates you need to complete your CPT documentation by this date.
Mm.
So if the company wants you to join in summer, uh, if your dates align, that's good. But for the dates to align, it should be also like how many quarters or semesters have been left, how many quarters or semesters have been completed, 2 points. Then when the company wants you to come join in, both, do you still have time to apply for CPT and get it approved? So if all these dates align, then it works well for you. In my case, it was a summer internship. I had to push a lot to my manager and Phillips that, hey, could you please prepone the date, and here are the problems that I'm facing and this and that. I also have to talk with my CPT advisor and get them to approve my CPT as soon as possible, because as far as I remember, it was only 1.5 weeks before that I applied, and that was too tight timeline. So fortunately, it all worked. But again, coming to the square one, it was a summer internship which I requested to be preponed.
Okay. And because it was preponed, and then they also asked you to, or I don't know if they asked you or you asked them, but it was extended
That's right.
as and then you had to turn on or activate pre-OPT, which is what this whole video is about.
Yeah.
Um, can you explain like what is pre-OPT? Like, so obviously we have CPT, then we have OPT, and then we have pre-OPT. What is pre-OPT? Hey, before we move on to the next part of the video, I want to quickly talk about our newsletter community, which you can be part of absolutely free. We are now going strong and we have more than 40,000 people in our newsletter community. So imagine 40,000 people are receiving my newsletter every single week, twice a week, where I break down all of the stories that we did and make it a valuable resource for you. So if you're someone who doesn't have time to watch this and you just want to get an email with all of the resources into an email, that is the place to be. I'll put the link in the description. I'll give you some example. This is the one for Tanvi, where how she got 2 co-ops and she paid off her entire master's fees. This is an example of Maya, where she got 3 co-ops and she paid off her fees plus a little bit of savings. Here is an example of Sahil, who got his green card in 3 years. Here is an example where we shared bunch of resources on job hunting. So I promise this is going to be valuable resource for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you want to be part of our newsletter community, link will be in the description, or you can go to link.udj.com/newsletter. This is the URL. And now I'll let you enjoy the video.
Okay, so if someone is gonna Google out, do Google pre-completion OPT. That's like an official name at the USCIS, usually called as pre-OPT. Pre-OPT is something that you can take before you graduate, and you can still work with your EAD to any employer. Just that the employer should be related to your field, just like we do in OPT or STEM OPT.
So for example, but let's say someone applied to a company and company says, you graduate in December, but we can't wait until December. We need you to start like right now. If you start next week or whenever, like in a month, we will be willing to take you in. At this point is when the pre-OPT comes in very handy, because they're going to graduate. This is when they can activate pre-OPT. Is that correct?
Absolutely true. With Just a caveat that you can join, you can start working, provided you have your EAD and all your documentation clear. We're going to talk about it, but only 20 hours a week. So that's,
Oh, you cannot do 40 hours.
yeah, because you are also in your school completing your course. So you can do 20 hours a week. If it's a summer, or if you don't have uh, college for that quarter or semester, then you can do 40 hours a week.
Got it. And what if I only have like one course, so that I'm like technically part time? So then, do you think I can get full time, or is that dependent on universities?
No, even if it's your last quarter or semester and you have one course, still it's going to be 20 hours only. As long as you are enrolled in your school and it's not a vacation period, it's 20 hours.
Got it. Okay. One another question is, how far back can you activate this pre-OPT? So people might be like, wait, why can't I just continue using my CPT? And why do I have to use my pre-OPT?
So, this usually 99% of people whom I know is people activate their pre OPT once they exhaust their CPT.
Hmm.
And to answer your question, how early can they start it? They can start at 90 days before completing the first academic year, not the end of course, before the first academic year. So let's say if someone is joining in May, May 24, May 25 minus 90 days, whatever the start date was, they can start their pre OPT from. They can file their, my bad, correction over there. They can file their pre OPT 90 days before they start, before the first academic period ends.
Hmm. So in your case, again, for people who don't know, so CPT you get for like you can have unlimited CPT, but if you extend more than 12 months or 365 days, that means if you do that full time more than 365 days, then you void your OPT. So that's why you never want to use your CPT more than 365 days. But in your case, is my guess is that Northeastern does not allow more than 6 months of OPT, co-op or CPT, and that's why you had to do it.
It depends on course to course. Again, before I talk about this, and I'm not sure, that's why I'm giving a disclaimer that this is not like an immigration advice
Yeah,
or anything like
yeah.
that. This is just a discussion. So if someone is taking advice from this, consult a lawyer and your DSO. As far as I remember, to answer that question, as far as I remember, it was like this that the earliest time in which you can complete your course by taking the maximum credits. So in my case, it was 1 year. Okay. So if like ideally you can take about 8 to 12, but if someone is taking 12 credits every quarter, he or she can complete their course in 1 year.
Mm,
So half of 1 year is 6 months. However, this was just for the College of Professional Studies. That is where the project management course is. They provide a project management course. However, there are other colleges like Core Engineering College and a couple of other colleges, and you can't, even if you take like maximum credits, you can't complete it within less than 1 year. It has to go to 2 years. For them, it's allowed to have the CPT for 1 year
mm.
if
Okay.
they and so it's allowed to have CPT for 11 months, and the reason for that is if you exhaust,
Extend. Yeah.
extend to 12 months, 365 days, you are not eligible for OPT. So it
Mm.
makes sense that the college has restricted it to 11 months so that there is no question of whether it is 12 months or not.
Okay, cool, awesome. I would love to see. I know you have this magical, amazing, beautiful timeline as a project manager. So if we can see that timeline, like how does it work? When did you complete your internship? When, like, what happened, and then the whole
Sure.
process with the EAD, and then what happens to the post EAD OPT as well. So all of that.
This is 2021. So we're going to start with 2021. In December 2020, I landed. Jan 21 is when the school started, the master's course. Going into October 21, I started applying for internships. That's where the internship search period started. October 2021 to December 2021, I kept applying, no luck. Jan 2022, I'm still keeping applying, no luck. Uh, some people started from Jan. So as I told you before, we have quarters and then we have dates where when can we apply and when can we start. So there were few dates that allowed students to join during Jan second or third week, and I remember most of the people who got internship joined in Jan, and that actually motivated me to apply more, seeing that my peers are getting internships, and I don't want to miss the bus, so I started applying vigorously.
Yeah, and again, for people who don't know, we have done extensive video on the project management and all of it separately, but this one is more focused on pre-OPT process and how does this impact your OPT and all of that. So that way, like people are like, why are you Yudi not asking how did he get interview calls? And I'm like, because I have already asked in separate video.
Yeah. In Feb 2022, I got my internship, which
Mm.
was at Philips. Uh, and this is where I applied for my CPT. Uh, e- Again, people who are watching this for Northeastern, you get only 3 months of CPT and you have to renew it. Uh, and you can only renew it if you have the offer letter that says that your internship is going to be 5 months, 6 months. At this point of time, Philips offered me a 3 months internship, which was like summer internship. I requested them to prepone, and I was the first intern to join. That's the reason. So I started in April, and the internship was supposed to end in June. Fortunately, I
Yeah,
got
and sorry, one clarification because you started in April. It's because NU Masters in Project Management is a quarter-based system, and it's not a semester-based system, which means it doesn't start like fall and spring. It's different. It's not like so that's why he basically finished his quarter and he's now full-time available to do the internship.
That's absolutely right, Yudi.
Yeah.
Thanks. So in April to June, I so you can take a break from your quarter at this point of time, even like just like you can not take any course, you can take a course, that's completely fine. I think they allow you to take one course with your co-op, but it depends on you, it's an optional thing. So April to June, I had my internship. I In June, I spoke with the manager, and she extended it to September. And this is where my CPT has been exhausted. April to September, it's about 6 months, and that is done. I can't apply for CPT extension. Just so that I don't forget it, I know we have already mentioned it before. Anyone who is watching this and want to apply for pre-OPT, they can apply only 1 year before, 90 days before the first academic year ends. So now, September, I need a pre-OPT. I don't know what the current timelines are to get the new EAD card, but during that time in September 2022, it was about 2 to 3 weeks. Just fortunate enough, I know my post-completion STEM OPT took about 3 months. So I'm not sure how it's gonna work with people watching this. You will have to check. But yeah, they also have something like premium processing, which gives you a uh,
2 weeks. Yeah, within 2 weeks you can get the card.
that's absolutely right. So yeah, if you are doing pre-OPT and if it's at the last moment that you come to know that hey, my offer is gonna get extended, you can go with premium processing. So over here at pre-OPT,
And so, what was the reason for you to extend? Like, why? Why? So, Philips did 3 months internship, then they extended another 3 months, and so at September 2022, you're like, okay, my 6 months is done. So, but Philips wanted to continue more, and that's why you had to extend it.
that's right. I think they initially took me for 3 months, and during I think in the first month I requested them that hey, can you extend it, but the answer was no. It was dicey, and we will see in June. I think they liked the work, and they were happy to offer extension. In September, it was quite easy for me to convince them. They wanted me to work even after September, if provided if I could manage that. But I said initially I said that it's not possible because I didn't know that POPT option exists. Later on, I came to know, so I went back and said that hey, it's possible, or I was like, it may be possible. I will have to check, but I will need the offer letter before I apply for POPT. And
Hmm.
here, I was wrong. You don't need an offer letter to apply for pre-OPT.
Hmm.
Once you have your EAD, provided POPT is approved, you can work for any company, and you don't need the offer letter to apply for pre-OPT. As you need to apply in the CPT, you need the offer letter. Okay, coming back over here, in September 2022, I applied for POPT with USCIS. You it's the same process as we do for normal OPT or STEM OPT. It's just that you choose C3A option during the start of the form. It's the same form. I think it's I-765 where you apply uh,
Yeah.
OPT. But at the second option, that is what is it for pre-OPT or post-OPT or STEM OPT changes, where the code is C3A. You apply it, complete the form. During the form, just remember to add some additional documents which are not mentioned over there, but I will suggest you to add, like your fee receipts, your course registrations. This just shows that you are enrolled in the course and it makes your case stronger. If you have unofficial academic transcript, because at this point you are not graduated, so you won't be having the official transcripts. But if you have unofficial transcripts, do add it in. And obviously, your DSO needs to make a request to USCIS that he could, like, they grant you a new I-20, which states that please apply. It doesn't state that please apply for pre-OPT, but it states that it states a request in on the last page of I-20 that hey, please pre-OPT can be granted to the student. So with all these documents and previous I-20s, which shows your CPT has been exhausted, with all these documents, you can apply for your pre-OPT. Uh, Depending upon USCIS timeline, it could take anywhere between 2 or 3 weeks to 3 or 4 months. That depends. So I got my approved POPT approved in September itself, and I worked till December.
Hmm.
So that's just a short note.
In
Do you
your
have?
case, yeah. So I was gonna ask you. So this was all in December 2022. You were also graduating.
Yeah. So that's where I have put this icon that December
Yeah, yeah,
2022 is my graduation year. So Jan 2021, I started my school in December 2022, which is 2 years.
2 years. Yeah. Hmm.
I finished my master's. So I'm gonna put
Got
here
it.
2022.
Okay. And so did Philips did not convert because I see that you have full-time search. So did you like knew that it was not going to convert? Did you wanted more options? Like what, like why did you start full-time search?
The My manager wanted me to be over there, and she was trying hard. At one point, it so Philips was going thin on financials, uh, and I straightforwardly asked my manager, like, "Hey, what's the probability in numbers? What's the chances that I will get a full time offer?" And she was like, 60% chances that you will get a full time offer. And she was trying hard. But December 2022 comes in, and about 80 to 90% of my team got laid off. So there was no chance that I will be getting a full time offer because the people who have been working there for a few years are getting laid off.
Hmm.
So yeah, no full time offer. I was somewhere prepared for it because I was seeing that they are cutting off on travel. They are cutting off because when you're working in company, you can understand that the company is running thin on financials. So yeah, I saw that coming. I was doing my full time search, and then we can go to 2023. But yeah, before that, any questions so far?
No, it looks like you only used yeah, so how does this affect, so because you activated pre-OPT and looks like you used it for 3 months or how many ever days, does that mean now this takes away these days from your actual OPT?
Yeah. So now coming to 2023. Jan 2023, I'm applying for jobs. I got, so this is where my in 1 year OPT. I started in around mid Feb, which is 2 months from graduation. You have 60 days. So I took the 68th day to start my EAD. For people who are yet to graduate, once you graduate, you have 60 days to start your EAD, and then
And sorry, one more time, for people who don't know this, again, I know this really well and you know it. um, as you're graduating, you have to apply for OPT. This is, now we are talking about post completion, not pre completion. And you get to choose six start date of when do you want to start your OPT, which is also when your 90 days of clock, which people call it, will start. So in this case, because he was graduating in December, he chose 60 days, which is maximum in this case would be mid February 2023. So that is when you chose. And is this when your 90 days start?
that's absolutely right. So I'm gonna put over here so that people will understand that 90 days of unemployment.
Nice.
Let's change the color. I don't want them to confuse with OPT. Okay, so as you said, we can start it between 1 to 68 days. So let's say I graduate on mid December, December 15th. So I approximately kept it on 68 day, which is mid Feb.
Hmm.
So from mid Feb, my OPT period starts. That's the, and also the unemployment period if we don't have a job. And in March is your H1B attempt.
Hmm.
So I missed my H1B attempt. I'm going to come to how this pre-OPT affects to the OPT one, but we need to give some background. That's the reason I'm going through this. In March, the H1B attempt comes in, and I missed my attempt. And in April, I got a job. So April 16th, I started. So I spent approximately 45 days of my unemployment days looking for a job. And plus these 2 months, the December 15th to Feb 15th. So 60 plus 45. That's how long it took me to get a job.
Yeah,
In
yeah, yeah. And again, not to confuse people, but 60 days which he choose, that's not counting your unemployed days. That just, he's saying that it took him 105 days to find a job in 2023 because the market was extremely bad. But he only used 45 days of his 90 days to find a job. Did you stop the clock or you did not? You were just like using it?
No, I was using it. I think so. People have reached out to me like asking whether I should stop the clock or not, and my suggestion, it depends person to person. If by not clocking the stop, you are able to push yourself to your limits or go beyond your limits, then don't
Mm.
stop. Keep the numbers that will help you stop the clock, like NGOs and everything, on speed dial, but do not stop it. So I was under the impression that I will stop my clock on the 48th day if I don't get. So I set that timeline that I have to find out, and if the 48th day passes, then I'm gonna call some NGO or other consultancies who can help me to stop the clock. But I got a job on, like, I guess on 28th or 38th day. Again, if just a reminder, and this is something that I missed during my job search, it will take about 2 weeks to get done with your background checks. So
Mhm.
if you are planning to get a job on 58 day or 68 day, it's not necessarily it will take 2 weeks. It might take even three or more than that. So just keep that in mind that once you get a job, until you start, it's gonna do some background checks, keep you get you on their payroll and everything. And only once you are starting to get paid is when you can say that your unemployment days have been stopped. So in my case, it was April 15th. I exhausted my 45 days, which began from Feb 15. The H1B attempt was gone. In April, I started. Now, now the question you asked, Yudi, how does this pre-OPT affects the OPT? You see, my OPT began on Feb 15 approximately. It should ideally go until Feb 15, like after Jan, 1 year.
Mm,
But
mm,
since I have used uh, 60 days, no, I use 90 days, September to December. I have used 90 days in my pre OPT over here. That's the reason the USCIS is going to reduce my 45 days from my first year of OPT. So these are September to December 90 days and ideal OPT year one, and here Jan to mid Feb is 45 days. So, uh, and that's the reason USCIS asked you to work 20 hours. Since pre OPT, we can work only 20 hours per week. Uh, that you don't work 40 hours. So, and OPT is 40 hours per week. So they reduce to, your uh, timeline from OPT at the ratio of 2 is to 1. So every
mm.
day over here are gonna calculate as 1 day over here.
Got it. Okay. So again, just to reiterate and correct me if I'm wrong, ideally, if you would have not done pre-OPT, then your OPT EAD started from mid-February, 15th February, let's just say 15th February 2023. It would have gone to like 15th February 2024. But because you use pre-OPT, 90 days and you are working only 20 hours, so they are taking 50% of that 90 days, which is 45 days, and they are deducting from your first year of OPT. So that technically, instead of February 15, like February 15, 2024, it will be ending on January. And now that means your next year also, like next another extension, that 2 years that you get will also be ending in January. So if you were to end your graduation in May, this would be a little different. You would miss out on the last chance of your H1B.
We will come to that. Yeah, definitely. You're absolutely right. Minor correction over there, not in Jan, but December 31st. So you can call it a Jan,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Right.
But
Yeah.
so that people don't get confused, it's going to be December 31st if you are starting at mid Feb 15. And then
Mm,
Jan 1st to Feb 15, 45 days are gone.
mm. Nice.
Now,
Okay. Mm,
if my OPT year one is getting completed on 31st December, then my STEM OPT begins on 1st Jan. Does that make sense?
yeah.
So my first year of STEM OPT goes from 1st Jan to December 31st. And
Mm,
similarly, my second year of STEM OPT goes from Jan 1st, 2025 to December 2025.
mm,
So that's the timeline. So you were right that in this case, if you see, there were three H1B filings, but I missed my first filing, and then I have right now two filings to go. The second one is also done. I was unfortunate, but hopefully I will be lucky in the third one. Let's see how it goes.
Wait, so
Uh,
you did not get H1B picked up even in your second attempt. So now you have like your golden attempt.
that's correct.
Mm,
That's my last
mm,
attempt. Now,
mm. Okay.
you are absolutely right. It timeline differs when it comes to people graduating in May.
Mm,
So let's say this is I've put dates for someone who is graduating next year. So minor correction over here. It's Jan 2025 and not 6. Okay. So someone who is graduating in May will the first H1B attempt. This is not the first H1B attempt, but I will say this is zero at H1B attempt will be in March 2025. And
Hmm.
then May, you graduate about 2 months from here. July, you get a job, 68 day, let's say. Mostly people start on the 68 day. Your uh, OPT kicks in. So this is where OPT period.
OPT year one. Yeah.
Yes. Now this will ideally go until mid-July. I have purposefully left this blank because we could discuss it. OPT year one, you're right. Ideally go till mid of July. But if someone is using their days before they graduate, just like I did in my case over here, by using pre-OPT, and the ideal pre-OPT should last till mid-Feb if it is beginning from here. And here, over in, if someone is graduating in May, this OPT, which will ideally go till July, will end somewhere in first week of May.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Again, just to reiterate, the reason this would happen is because in this case, if you were to use your pre-OPT instead, like in like March to May, just like Shrijay did in September to December, so 90 days. So your instead of your ideal year end of OPT would have been July, it would be May somewhere because they are still removing 45 days.
Absolutely right. So year one OPT, ideal period of year one OPT, but since someone is uh, not using their like using their pre-OPT instead, so there we go, they reduce the 45 days. At this point of time, the STEM OPT should kick in. So the STEM OPT should go for about 2 years. Give me a moment. And if you're starting it around first week of May, the first year of STEM OPT goes until again first week of May by May 2027. And the second year will start around the first week of May 2027 and go somewhere around first week of May 2028. So just so that people understand, for STEM OPT year one, this is also STEM OPT year one. And then the second year of STEM OPT kicks in, year two, and by May 2028, this will be done. So now, in this case, someone who is graduating in May could get all their three H1B attempts.
Hmm.
They could even, so someone might say that he or she could lose their second attempt or third attempt. If someone is starting, like the way I exhausted my 45 days of unemployment, if someone is not getting a job and they are starting after July, so the OPT period stays same. STEM OPT, oh yeah, it's gonna stay same even if they don't get a job. That makes sense. Sorry, I was confused. So it is only that you once your EAD starts, it's gonna be about 3 years, and then you are not gonna lose any of your H1B attempts.
Hmm. Yeah. So, go ahead. Go ahead.
Just another point to be noted that this particular diagram we are considering in this particular timeline, we are considering that you use your 60 days to start your EAD. If you are starting your EAD right after you graduate, that is May over here, then all the timeline changes and you're gonna start your STEM OPT earlier and you're gonna reduce your timeline from here. So you are like cut to cut in March, your timeline will be ending because you started in May instead of July. So that's kind of risky. If you already have a job, then obviously you will have to start, but then you might miss the March 28 attempt if you are graduating in May 25. If you are not, if you are utilizing your all 60 days to start your OPT year one, then yeah, then you are good. You should be getting the first attempt of the March 28.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And if they end up getting H1B in the last attempt, which is March 2028, then they will fall under the cap option.
I haven't been there, so can't comment. But I think Yudi, you can help people
Yeah.
understand this.
Basically, technically, at this point, if we, sorry, let me go back. So at this point, let's say we are on the third attempt, right? We are in March 2028, because your STEM OPT ends with the May timeline, right? You have been picked up in H1B lottery, but you don't have a legal way to work because your H1B gets approved on October 1st. So there's a gap between October 1st and your STEM OPT end, and that is called cap. And that is when it gets activated, blah, blah, blah. Again, we'll not go into this, but when you people, a lot of says like H1B cap gap, this is when the cap gap happens, and there's a way to do that as well. Again, we'll not cover it in this video, but this is more about pre-OPT and how, if you utilize it, then how does it affect your year one of OPT. So you want to be extra cautious of when you activate it and how much time you use it and all of it. So in your case, you use 90 days of pre-OPT, but people could use 100-day, or people could use 120 days depending on their situation. Again, keeping everything else also in mind, their coursework, CPT, and all of it. So if they end up using 120 days because they're working 20 hours, that will mean that it will take out 60 days from their year one of OPD. So if it was ending in February 2023, now it will be ending in November end. And so now you definitely will miss out on something. So something like, yeah, so you have to be extremely cautious of how you decide to use it, how much you decide to use it, and all of it.
That's absolutely right, Yudi. That's a good point that you mentioned. Someone can also uh, change their pre-OPT from 90 to 30, 60 days, depending upon how they want to take the risk of H1B. If they want to go into the second attempt, they can take 30 days of pre-OPT and then have only 15 days reduced from their entire first year of OPT. That's the good way of doing it. That's a new way. That's a new insight that I just learned from you. Could
Right.
go each way. As you
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
120, 150, and then reduce half of time. Or if you could reduce it to 30 days and then take only 15 days out of our first year of OPT.
Yeah. Amazing. This was great. And again, we will be doing whole video about project management and how we got into it in a separate video. But any last advice for aspiring job seekers and people who are thinking about pre-OPT and all of it?
If you have a job offer and they want you to start early, I would say go for pre-OPT, because even if you start on a pre-OPT and by the end of your graduation you find a better offer, you can switch to it, no problem. It is even if it has been only 2 weeks that you joined the company, because your pre-OPT doesn't ask you for offer letter. There is a big misconception that people have, that if I'm applying for pre-OPT, I need an offer letter. No. And once you have your pre-OPT EAD, you can join to any company within your field, of course. So if you have an offer, please join, considering the job market, and then keep looking on other offers. If possible, switch on to a different company if it is offering you a better pay, if it is offering you a better culture, and if you're interested in the work over there, switch to a different company, start working over there. That's completely fine. Yeah, that's the only advice I would give to the people seeking POPT.
Yeah. And I just remembered one more thing, that if you activate your pre-OPT, make sure that you remember that you still have to do the whole application for post-OPT as well. Because it's not like because you have pre-OPT, that means that's it and you can use the same EAD for your post-OPT. You have to do the same application one more time, get the EAD card on time so that you can start your post-OPT.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. So that I would like to put another point over there. Uh, Give me a moment. Let me pull up the mural board that we have. Oh, I'm presenting. Uh, so anyone who is so in this case, if I'm graduating on December 2022, anyone who is applying in this case at any point of time, your maximum last date of your pre-OPT will be mid-December on the day you're graduating. Your pre-OPT EAD won't will for sure be expired the day you graduate. So the moment you graduate, your EAD is expired. You will have to file for a new EAD. And by over here in my case, by mid Feb, I had a new EAD in hand. So this pre-OPT EAD will have timeline from whatever the start date is to your graduation date, and then your post OPT will have the timeline that is 0 to 68 days of the starting date, and the end date depends on how much pre-OPT you have used.
Yeah, but again, don't forget, sorry, um, again, do not forget that if you are starting your pre-OPT and the same company wants you to start in January 1st, so that means you need to apply early in time so that your EAD comes in time. If you
Makes
wait until December 14 because you're like, oh, I have to December 15 EAD hai, it's not going to work out. Like, it's going to take time for you to get your new EAD unless you are willing to pay premium, premium things. So then, yeah, maybe premium processing.
and post OPT you will have to apply before you graduate. You can't apply, and for the I-20 for post OPT you have to apply before you graduate. So you have to tell your DSO the date you want your
Yeah.
post OPT before you graduate. So if you want to continue in the same company, then you have to let your DSO know about a month or two before that. Hey, I'm gonna start on Jan 1st. I'm working at this company. I'm gonna continue. Give me an earliest OPT date.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyway, I again thank you so much, Shrijay, for doing this. I feel it is a complex topic. I know I already sent someone to you because I was like, they were asking me. I was like, I know a guy who has done this, so let me send it to you. And thank you for helping them. But if you have any further question, people, then please put it in the comment section. We'll do maybe a follow up video based on the comments you have. And yeah, you might not be as stuck as you think because there might be options. You just have to explore it. So yeah, just keep exploring. But
Yeah, uh, great. I had a good time and hope people get the necessary information from it. And this video helps every student that is watching, or in fact, people coming to NU might get more information about how things work over here.
yeah, amazing. Cool. Again, thank you, Shrijay, for doing this. Can't wait to bring you back. But until our next one.
Keep smiling, keep hustling.
Nice.